Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm here doing the Euro 2020 tournament predictor. It's, it's very hard to do when your team's not actually in the tournament. With Ireland losing to Slovakia in penalties because the game was that boring and rubbish. And then when you think it can't get any worse, they take the game from Dublin, from the Aviva, because the Irish government couldn't promise that there'd be fans allowed at the stadium, and because our vaccination programme is that slow and dragged out. And then last week you have the GAA who say that they're allowing fans back into stadiums, 500 fans on any stadium above 5,000. Surely that could have been done with the Euros. Make sure everyone was vaccinated, tested, or temperature checks done before they're allowed into the stadium, and if they're all sorted and fine, let them into the stadium. And what's worse even is that there's a planned bid by the FAI and the FA. I'm not sure about Scotland. I think it's the whole of the UK and the Republic of Ireland planning the bid for the 2030 World Cup, 100th anniversary of the first World Cup. And what a pitch it would have been, because a major tournament in the Aviva, the atmosphere would have been electric. And that would have been a fantastic pitch to UEFA and FIFA for games to be so. The three games that were scrapped, one of them was around the 16. But could you imagine how frustrating it would be for anyone in Ireland that wanted, because the amount of tourism that it would bring? It's hard enough since COVID with businesses and everything and all that sort of stuff. If they could just end up, just having it, the three games, allowing fans to travel within the EU, coming to the country, the boost it would give to the capital, the boost it would give to businesses in the country. And you never know, it's not just the capital, but if these football fans, because I'm pretty sure Poland and Slovakia game would have been held at the Aviva, the amount of Polish in Ireland, it would have been a home stadium for Poland. And but the Slovakian fans coming, if they were here, there's a high possibility that they would have toured the country, and I would have put the country on the map. But anyway, enough about my rambling on anyway. Do this predictor yoke, and of course, just like everyone else, Italy's going into first place, because it's quite straightforward. They're the best team out of that group. You can't imagine Switzerland, Turkey or Wales finishing ahead of them. And Italy have a very young team, lots of talent, but also one of the most important things in international football is being able to defend well, and Italy are the masters of defending. They defend well, they're solid, they're rigid, and they're a frustrating team to play with a low block. And that's going to lead me on to why I think Wales are going to finish bottom, because international football, Wales have got more pace than anything else with Bale and Dan James, and those players won't really be able to. Maybe Bale, but Dan James, the only really way that he can play is down the wing, pace, getting in behind teams. But if the teams are that are playing with the low block, they're not going to be able to get in around them. That's why I think Wales are going to struggle, and I think Wales are going to finish fourth. Their team's aged a lot. The likes of Bale's not like he was in 2016, the Euros, when they got to the semi-final. He's 5 years older than now, and I just don't see anything other than Wales finishing bottom. The big one here is Switzerland and Turkey, and I'll explain it. That Turkey's going third and Switzerland's going second. People are thinking that Turkey's going to finish second, that they're a dark horse for the tournament, but apart from Sayonchu, Leicester centre half, who I rate highly, he's a great centre half for Leicester, and the few players that they have from Lille that won the PSG to the French title, and of course they have Kabak, but as a Liverpool fan I don't really rate Kabak. I just don't think that Turkey are going to have the same. They don't have. Well, they might have it. I haven't watched enough of Turkey or Turkish players to see if they've. I don't see it in Kabak and I don't see it in Soyuncu that they're big game players. They're big moment players and big tournament players. And I think that's what Turkey are going to lack. And I think Switzerland, they're underrated. Their estimations for Switzerland are very, very low every year, every tournament. But they always seem to overperform. They always seem to just get the job done. They get out of the group stage. And like with Xhaka, he's a ferocious CDM no matter what you think about him. I don't like, he's a bit mad at times, but at the same time, I think he is an unbelievable player, especially for Switzerland. And I think he's a player that any country wants in their side. He's a player there that will no nonsense tackles. Yeah, he can lose it a bit, but you need that aggression in the tackles. And with Switzerland, I think, and the same with, I know people are going to say he hasn't played all season, but Shaqiri, no matter how little he plays, he can still somehow just come on and do something when it's needed. And he's got a wonderful left foot. He's got an absolute wonderful left foot, and I think that's going to push Switzerland over the line. And I think they're my team that's going to finish second. And now this one, I'm putting Russia fourth. I don't know too much about Russia. Putting Finland third only because they have Ryan. I think they have O'Shaughnessy, who could have declared for Ireland. Denmark second and Belgium first, only on the talent that Belgium have. They're a very aging team, and I think their defence isn't as strong as it was. I think 2018 was their chance. 2016 and 2018 were their chance. And when Wales bet them in 2016 and 2018, I think they should have got to the World Cup final. They were just beaten by a better French team, but I think purely just on individual talent like De Bruyne and Lukaku, I think that's the only reason that I'm putting them in there, that they're going to finish top of that group, because Hazard hasn't had the best season. Courtois has an alright season. I still wouldn't say that he's as good as he was. And they've no company now in centre defence, and Thomas Vermaelen, he's playing in Japan, and he's like their team's nearly, they've got a lot of players that are nearing that 30 mark, and if not they're over 30, and I think that's going to go back to haunt them. This is an interesting one. Everyone's saying North Macedonia is going to finish bottom, which I am as well, but a lot of people are saying North Macedonia are going to finish in no points. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up a few points, because they're that underdogs that nobody's going to rate. They're like the Republic of Ireland back in '88 in Stuttgart, and we bet England. You never know. The Dutch are finishing top, with Van Dijk, without Van Dijk. They've no Van de Beek now. They still got to pay. Van Dijk, I think, has joined. He's going to be helping backroom staff. So it's going to be like a captain. He's going to try and do a Ronaldo for the whole tournament. This is a big one. Austria, Ukraine. And I seen Austria against England, but I didn't think they were going to end up putting them there, because I think Ukraine, I don't know much about Ukraine, but also not many people. They have I just think that Ukraine, they had an amazing qualifying campaign, and I'm putting them second. Now England's group, England top, Croatia second, because I think Croatia still have enough to finish ahead of Croatia, but only because Croatia's team has aged a lot. And Scotland, it's hard to know with Scotland which Scottish team will turn up, because they had a horrendous Euro campaign. It was just purely because the Nations League that they're there. Now this is the interesting one, because I'm putting Sweden third, Slovakia fourth, Spain second, and Poland first. And I'll explain this. Lewandowski. The Spanish defence, I don't think is that good. I just don't. And I think that that's something that they're going to have trouble with. And I think on basis, if Poland managed to beat Spain 1-0 and bet the rest of them, it just means that they're like, it's basically who finishes top of that group is Spain. It's between Spain and Poland. I have the feeling. I think it's Lewandowski. It's going to just make Poland that little bit better. That's a group Ireland would have been in as well. So Poland, I think, yeah. Now this is the big one, because many people, it's the group of death, and I'm just putting Germany there, and I'll explain why. I'm putting France second, and I'm putting Portugal. Hungary, they're the worst team out of that. Portugal, purely because I don't think, except for Ronaldo, Bruno, Jota, Neves, Coutinho, Rui Patricio, but would I say they're anywhere near as good as France? No. Germany, yes, they may have better goal scorers than Timo Werner, but there's just something about Germany that makes them like a conveyor belt. It's like a shop or a factory. There's this conveyor belt that always comes round of top class players and talent. And I think Germany are going to finish. I think France's defence isn't as good as it was. I think Lloris has had a shocking season. I don't think their defence. I think Longley has had a bad season with Barcelona. The Ports now at Spain, he didn't even play, but I just think that Germany are going to top that group. And this is the interesting thing, because I think Turkey, Scotland will. But now the last two, because I want to explain something about Group F. Portugal finishing as one of the best third place teams, and everyone who's picked, whoever finishing third in that group, has picked them as one of the best third place teams. But it goes by points, and I think that if we look at it here, Germany beat France and France beat Portugal, but Portugal beat Germany. Wait, is that right? Germany beat France, France beat Portugal, but Portugal beat Germany. They're basically just cancelling each other out, which in return will mean that the third place team could actually miss out on it, because it's such a tight group. Because the top three teams could actually finish only on 4 points if they manage to only draw to Hungary. And I don't think that might be enough, but I'm going to pick them anyway, just for the purpose of this. And then it's just a choice between whichever one. They've Lindelof, so I'm not picking Sweden. Let's think Austria, only because they've got a lot of decent players. Now that's a big one. And I'm saying Portugal, because of the simple fact I don't think Belgium's defence is where it was. And I think that their players are a lot older than a lot of the Portuguese players. It's in Italy. I'm saying Germany. It's in Romania, but I'm saying Germany. Oh, and Spain. Glasgow. I have to go with Lewandowski. And I'm sorry, England, but I think you're going to go out at the round of 16. I think France. It's at Wembley. But just France, the French talent. And I think that the English defence is still, I think France's French defence is absolutely shocking. But I think England's is even worse. And I think they're too defensive. And I think you'll be afraid of France's pace. And I think he will sit back, try and hit them on the break. But I just think that between Mbappe, Griezmann, Benzema, it's got far too much talent. And Pogba can slice you open. Kante, he's just a brick wall. Then, I'm sorry, Scotland. I think the all home nations will actually go out. But I'll be out by the quarterfinals. Switzerland, Denmark. It's a toss up, really, isn't it? Say Switzerland. They always seem to play against each other as well. I know how to do it. There's another big one, Portugal and Italy. They're all massive games now. I'm saying the Netherlands purely because it's weird too that they only played each other. Portugal or Italy. There's a game we played Munich. They're actually all the neutral venues for the quarterfinals. Did I from if they were my quarterfinals? Which is why do I go with Ronaldo and Jota and Bruno, or do I go? I'm going to say Italy. I just think Italy they're a completely new team under Mancini. It doesn't say that. I think Germany. I think France. It's a tough one because they've got the pie and they've got the lake. They've got so much talent, the Dutch, but they don't have Van Dijk, and he's a big miss. But they also don't. But they have Genie. You can always come up with a goal. But do they have the likes of? They've got Genie. But do they have the likes of? But they don't have Donny either. Baku, that doesn't help because it's even the proximity to the country. I'm going to say Switzerland. Am I? Am I going to say Switzerland? Or should I say the Dutch? I think without Van Dijk they're one of no. There's no Van Dijk. I'm going to say the Germans. Because they always seem to do they can just be rubbish, but they can just come good. Important moments. France, and then it's the big one. A final at Wembley between Germany and France. The English won't be too happy about that. And I'm saying Germany to win it. Germany's going to win Euro 2020 or 2021. And they're my predictions. And I will save them. And I'll react to them when the tournament's over. So everyone, that's it. They're my tournament predictions. Just want to make sure you hit the big like button and the big subscribe button for any more future football content and transfer news. Thanks a million for tuning in. Bye.